there is an immediate tie-off button on the Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic 3. Now, if you've been a Husqvarna Viking users in the past and remember the button that said Fix, well, this is your new Fix button. And I'm going to show you a couple options that we now have with this button. But pretty much, if you touch it, it is going to add locking stitches at your fingertips. So at any time that that is on, it's going to do locking stitches. But we have an option, which in a minute I'm going to show you we can turn on in the settings to lock at the beginning, the end. You can add a cut to it. There's actually options for how you want it to be used. So this machine is so customizable. So the way you sew and the way I sew can be totally different, yet this machine can be adjusted for all of our likings and not just be like, well, it's okay for you, but maybe not okay for you, because we all sew with different habits. Okay, so let me show you how this works, and this will be one of those things that, number one, if they gave us a button, it must be pretty important, okay? So all these buttons across the front of our machine means that they are immediately accessible, so must be important. So let's make sure we know how to use all these function buttons. Now, we have done videos on all parts of this machine. You're going to find a complete playlist at the end or in the description below so you can start binge watching from the beginning and mastering all the buttons and all the setting options built into this fabulous machine. Let's just start by having the immediate tie-off active and the light is lit. I'm going to step on my foot control, and without me taking my foot off, it actually has put locking stitches and stopped. So, and you also notice the light has disappeared. So it's kind of like a one-time use. If I'm sewing and I touch it while I'm sewing, it's going to finish what I'm on and finish with locking stitches and then stop. Again, my foot's still on the foot control and it gave me just the right amount of stitches. So I will have to say, learning when you should push this and when you should not push it is something just to take a little bit of time with some scrap fabric and see how it is actually designed to work. Okay, so there's also an option that if you're working with decorative stitches, this will finish the decorative stitch and then lock it, which is something that we do a lot with our Stitching Cosmos online course, because we're always kind of starting and stopping decorative stitches, but when we want them to stop, or maybe before we actually get to the end of the fabric. Now, I also mentioned we can customize this immediate tie-off function ability. So when we come over to the settings area of your machine, touch the little gear in the top right corner and go into sewing. Here is where we can come all the way to the bottom and find tie off options. So you can have it so it always ties off the beginning by putting a check mark. You can have it so it always does the locking at the end, and you can add a thread cut to be part of the ending process. If you only want it to tie off at the beginning, you could do just that check mark. And do remember, things that you set up in the settings area are remembered. So that means as you turn this machine off and then back on, those settings are going to stay active because you've turned them on. And when you want to turn them off, just go right back into the settings, go into the sewing area, and then uncheck the boxes. This allows you to turn it on and off as you need it, but yet still have the function right at your fingertips. If you love having the customization on your machine, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and check out all of our online courses that can help you master this machine even more.